Well, good Tuesday morning, Northern Michigan. Time for Writer's Minute. John Mitchell, he's the author of Grand Traverse, The Civil War Era, joins us this morning. John, it's a pleasure having you here, really.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
What's really interesting is your book that you have out right now. Not only does it talk about the Civil War, but it's localizing it and the impact that it had right here in our area in Grand Traverse County.
I wrote it with keeping a Grand Traverse perspective as the #1. That's the unique part of this book, as it is, and it's a very unique perspective. There are no roads to this area, so it was all a ship. It's a ship-borne tale, that the story of Grand Traverse in the Civil War era. A great story, I think, rises to the level of an epic. It surprised me. I'd been in the history business all my life, and this is my 6th history book. I was very surprised in the 3 years it took me to write this, how much good history there was in this area.
What's also interesting, very timely too, for doing this interview, because January 31st marks the approval of the 13th Amendment.
1865, yes, actually the whole ball got rolling in January of 1863, the first, as a matter of fact, as Lincoln decreed the Emancipation Proclamation, which was a sort of a political and moral proclamation at the time. It freed the slaves, but there was the direct reasons for keeping Europe out of the war. For one, it did, because Europe was very anti-slavery, and it really defined the differences in the causes. The South was there to preserve slavery, the North to fight against it. So that, and a lot of black soldiers former slaves joined the army. But the third press for the 13th Amendment 2 years later was to get slavery legally. It's one thing to say slavery is illegal when you're president in a war, and another to have a constitutional amendment. So that's why the press of that Spielberg movie and the concentration on that the Lincoln movie is him passing, the Congress passing that 13th Amendment before the war stopped, because then the issue would have been more complicated.
And it's so interesting, you and I were talking before we went on air, that I did see that movie recently, and it just opens your eyes so much to what happened, especially with President Lincoln, and what he did, and the 13th Amendment. And so this book, perfect timing. For you, though, what were your personal...
I had a 4-year deadline when I started.
Did you really?
Hit it on, well,
you hit it right on target.
April 12th, 2011 was the 150th anniversary. I was about 4 weeks late. It came out in May 1st.
But that's okay.
Yeah, on 4 years. It was good. No, I think really the book has done very well so far, but the real interesting years of the Civil War are just beginning. So.
And also, John, too, I want to mention you write children's books as well. We have a copy right here.
I have a series of 4. That's what I really taught me how to write, and I cut my teeth. I have a series of 4 illustrated history for children about the Great Lakes. And children, the age I wrote for, 4th to 6th grade, they're a tough audience. If you don't keep the sentence going and the action lively, they're gone.
Right.
So that was a great that taught me how to write, was the 4 children's books.
Where can people get a copy of your children's books? Also, the Grand Traverse, the Civil War Era.
That's been both of these. All of my books have been bestsellers out of Horizon Books. I'm very loyal to them. Leland Law Books, pretty much all the quality local bookstores. I am getting the Wood Boats, or excuse me, the Grand Traverse, the Civil War Era, converted into an ebook as we speak to go after the national audience, because I've won some good awards, and it has a chance to go nationally, but it needs to go to do that. So.
Wonderful. Well, John, I wish we had more time. This is fascinating, and I want to thank you for talking about Grand Traverse, the Civil War Era. For more information on John Mitchell's book, also for the upcoming Writer Series author that will be here February 7th in Traverse City, check out our website, upnorthlive.com. I will post all the details. John, I want to thank you again. Very, very fascinating information.
Thank you, and support the National Writer Series. It's a great program.
Absolutely. Taking a look now at Weather Watchers, here's Storm Team meteorologist Joe Charlevoix.